Good morning. I'm Corporal May, and today we are going to be discussing leadership in the Army profession. Excuse me. Everything talked about today will be unclassified. Anything we discuss can be found on Google as well as ATP 6-22. Going over the risk assessment, it is low. In case of emergency, such as fires, etc., your exit is in the rear to the right. And should there be a case of emergency, you're going to exit out that door, go left to outside, and the meeting area will be in the parking lot behind the company. So, what we're going to be talking about today is leadership in the Army profession. What we're going to be covering under leadership is the definition, the LRM, which is the Army's leadership requirements model, as well as attributes and competencies. We'll also be covering the Army profession, what it is, and what it means to me. So, the Army profession. The Army profession's definition, defined by the Army, is a vocation of soldiers and Department of the Army civilians whose collective expertise is the ethical design of, support to, and application of land power, serving under civilian authority and entrusted to defend the Constitution, the rights, and interests of the American people. That is our job as soldiers. That is part of our job. The other part of our job would be our actual MOS, which is our military occupational specialty. I am an 11 Charlie, so my key tasks in that job is to be proficient on all mortar systems, knowledge of mortar systems, as well as knowledge of all basic infantry tasks and tactics. So, what the Army profession means to me. The Army profession to me is one of the most noble and selfless professions there is. You're serving not only your country, but our beliefs, our values, as well as your brothers and sisters around you. It's something to be taken very seriously. So that is what the Army profession means to me. So leadership. The definition of leadership found in ATP 6-22 is the process of influencing others by providing purpose, direction, and motivation to complete the mission. Essentially, us as leaders, we are giving a purpose. So whether that may be, hey, listen, we're working towards preparing for deployment or a training event, or we just have something to complete for the day. That's our purpose. Direction is, okay, this is what I need you to do. These are the tasks I need you to do. And it is our job to provide motivation throughout that time to make sure those tasks get completed, as well as making sure our people under us are taken care of. Moving on to the leadership requirement model, the LRM. So we have essentially two sections, two categories. There's attributes, which covers character, presence, and intellect. And then we have competencies, which covers leading, developing, and achieving. So let's take a closer look at what those mean. Let's start with the attributes. So attributes, character, what does that mean? In my opinion, character is the most important attribute of all the attributes as a leader. I feel like that is the foundation to everything else we do. So that can mean living the Army values, having discipline, having empathy towards those below us as well as those above us, having the people under us as well as the people above us knowing and trusting us that we're doing the right thing no matter who's watching or who's around. Is going to set us apart from our peers, as well as give us more responsibility and bigger tasks, essentially elevating our career. So let's talk about presence. Presence could be military bearing, fitness, confidence, resilience. To me, presence is how you carry yourself, how you are perceived as a leader. I know it was something I struggled with when I first became a leader, is presence around my peers, people that I came into the Army with, that had been with me the whole time, I'm now in charge of. So finding a balance between a friend and a leader. Okay, listen, we're at work. These are the tasks that need to be done, and it needs to be taken seriously. We have to find that balance as leaders, to be able to still have our guys trust in us, be comfortable around us, and confident that we know what we're talking about. But when we give out tasks, when we delegate, that needs to be taken seriously. They have to take us serious as leaders. So intellect. Moving on to intellect. Intellect is also a very important attribute as a leader. That can cover, for instance, mental agility, sound judgment, innovation, expertise. So being able to critically think. Being leaders in the Army or the military in general is we're constantly presented with problems that need creative solutions. So being able to think critically, quickly, which is essentially mental agility, and then having sound judgment, being able to make decisions that make the most sense and that are going to complete the task or mission with in the most proficient manner, as well as innovate. A lot of the times we're at A, we need to get to C, and B is kind of up to us. We don't really have a set way to get to C yet, so we have to come up with that on our own as leaders. Having expertise in our field, in our job, is going to help us do that. It's going to help us achieve that goal. By, okay, I know how everything works. I know how a mortar system works. I know how it's employed. I know everything about it. So I'm going to be able to think of solutions quicker, or ways to utilize that in more efficient ways, because I have that expertise. Moving on to competencies of LRM, which is the Army Leadership, the Army Leadership Requirements Model. So leads, right? Leads by example. That is, if I expect you to do it, I should be able to do it. If I expect you to run a 35-minute 5 mile, I better be able to run a 35-minute 5 mile. If I expect you to be 15 minutes early for work, I should be 15 minutes early for work. If you're staying late, I'm staying late. That's what it means to lead by example. My definition is when I think of lead by example, is a leadership a leader that I want to be, that I want to emulate. Not a leader that is asking me to do things that I know he's not capable of, or he's questioning me on knowledge I know he doesn't know. That just builds distrust and kills motivation, which goes into part of the other subcategories of leading. So building trust, trusting in having your subordinates and those over you trusting in you that you know what you're doing and you're going to be able to complete the task. And communicate. Okay, you have to be able to communicate to your soldiers clearly and concisely what you want and what you need. So moving on to develop. Okay, so we can help develop ourselves and others. Develop ourselves professionally, personally. That's all something we have to work on. And helping develop ourselves, helping develop others, in my opinion, helps us develop ourselves. We also need to create a positive environment. If everyone dreads coming to work every day, and it's just they're miserable all the time, they're not gonna put effort. They're not gonna want to be here. They're not gonna be motivated. And steward the profession. You know, we're the example. So we need to, hey, this is our job. We need to take it seriously. Moving on to achieves. So we're getting results. That's the key thing, is that as leaders we get results. Okay, we were given a set of tasks. We were given a mission outline, did we complete that mission? Did we achieve commander's intent, the commander's intent of that mission? We have soldiers that need to improve on PT or competency in their job. Did we achieve those results? And that goes into personal and professional. I believe we should set goals for ourselves as well as our soldiers, personally and professionally. Personally, I want to have, for instance, I want to have my finances in better order. I want to be able to run a 33-minute 5-mile. Constantly setting goals for ourselves as well as those under us. It's just going to give us more motivation to achieve them, and it gives us a direction. Gives us a direction and a purpose. It all ties in together. So to summarize, we covered the Army profession, what it is, what it means to me, and how I think we should take it seriously. We covered leadership. We covered what leadership is, the definition of leadership. We went over the Army's leadership requirements model, and I gave some personal stories of mine and some personal opinions of what I think leadership is. So, any questions for me? Okay, I have 2 questions for you. What is the definition of leadership? Good. And where can you find the definition of leadership? Good. Now I'm going to conduct an AAR. What was supposed to happen? So we were supposed to cover leadership and the Army profession. What did happen? We covered what the Army profession was and what leadership was. Do I have any sustains? Do I have any improves? At this time, you are dismissed.